Good afternoon. Before you have a seat, we're going to swear you in. So please raise your right hand. Respond to the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. Please have a seat. Just need you to scoot up to that microphone, speak loud and clear into that, please.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
My name is Oscar E. Jimenez, Jr. My first name is O-S-C-A-R, middle initial E, J-I-M-E-N-E-Z.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm retired.
What about back in 2016?
I was a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
How long were you employed with the FBI?
I was 22 and a half years.
What were your duties back in 2016?
Back then, I was assigned to a violent crime squad working human trafficking and innocent images.
As part of your duties, were you asked to participate in an undercover operation relating to a murder that occurred here in Tallahassee?
Yes.
All right, and was that the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes.
All right, and was this something that, this type of undercover operation, was it something you'd participated in before?
I've participated in numerous operations with different criminal activity, but I've participated in some like this also.
All right, and what was your role in reference to this particular operation?
In this operation, I was portraying myself as a Latin King member, and my job was to initiate a bump.
All right, a Latin King gang member?
Correct.
All right, and you were going to initiate a bump. What does a bump mean?
Well, a bump is a term we use in law enforcement where an undercover, like myself, would approach somebody, either a target or a subject of interest, and it would be used to either solicit information, give information, or possibly set up a follow-up meeting.
All right, and could the purpose be to generate discussion for a wiretap?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, and on this particular occasion, I'm going to draw your attention to April 19th of 2016. What specifically were you asked to do?
On that particular day, I was instructed to bump Mrs. Donna Adelson and hand her a flyer.
All right, and when you say bump, are you going to walk up to her?
That is correct.
And did that take place on the street in public?
It did.
All right, in Miami?
It is southern Miami, I believe.
All right, I'm going to approach with what I marked as States 83. You recognize States 83?
Yes, I do.
Is this a fair and accurate copy of what was on the piece of paper that you handed, other than the handwriting that we're going to discuss in a moment?
Yes, my recollection it is.
So you handed a piece of paper to Donna Adelson, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and everything that's on this paper was similar to what you handed her, or exactly the same as what you handed her, other than some handwriting?
What really stands out to me is Mr. Markel's photograph and the handwriting. I can't say for sure about everything else on the paper.
Okay, was there an article on the piece of paper as well, or could it have just been a photo?
No, I believe it was some type of news article.
Okay, but you didn't memorize the news article to say whether this is the identical one?
No, I did not.
Okay, so is it fair to say this is the same or similar, substantially similar to what you handed to Donna Adelson?
Yes, correct.
Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce States 83.
Any objection?
Ultimately, no, Your Honor, but there's a best evidence situation. It's not an exact copy of the original.
All right, that's overruled. It'll be admitted. States 83.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Publishing States 83. So we've got a article here with a photograph of Dan Markel, and you mentioned on the piece of paper that you handed to Donna Adelson there was something handwritten. What was handwritten on that piece of paper?
There was a dollar amount, and a phone number.
All right, and what was the dollar amount, if you recall?
Well, I believe it was $5,000.
Okay, and what about the phone number? Do you have that committed to memory?
I do not. The only thing I know is that that was my undercover cell number.
All right, and is there something that could refresh your recollection as to that?
My report, my 302, if...
All right, do you have a copy of that on you?
I do not.
Okay, give us just a moment.
He said at deposition he doesn't remember.
All right, so we've got a phone number on there that goes to what when you call it?
My undercover, it's a covert cell phone number.
All right, And if somebody during this operation was to call that cell number, they would either get you on the phone,
Just myself.
okay, or what? Possibly a voicemail?
Or a voicemail, yes, there was a voicemail on it.
Okay, his 302 is not in here. All right. And was the operation in which you approached Donna Adelson on the street and handed her this piece of paper, was that recorded?
Yes, it was.
How was it recorded?
It was recorded both video and audio.
All right. And were you wearing a body-worn camera on your person?
I was, and that recorder recorded audio and video.
Okay. And was there also a team positioned further away that could record the interaction from across the street?
That is correct. There were security teams that were also recording.
Have you had an opportunity to review both the body-worn camera video and what we're calling the combined video that puts your audio on with the video from across the street?
I have had a chance.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as states 112 and 113. And have you initialed both of those exhibits indicating that they're fair and accurate copies?
Yes,
Okay, of both the recordings we just discussed.
that is correct.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce States 112, which is the body-worn camera of an undercover operative, as well as 113, which is what I've described as the joint video that includes the video from across the street.
Any objection?
No more than the previous motions and objections.
All right, to be admitted as states 112 and 113.
All right.
Talk to me.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to publish States Exhibit 113, the combined bump video.
Okay.
Black shorts. What is it? Yeah. Okay, bud. Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen.
You're scared.
No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Pluto for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times, and we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuco. Well, this will explain it. Thank you. Not from this area.
Did that conclude your contact with Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right, and I wasn't able to put my hands on your report yet, but I do have did you offer prior testimony in reference to this matter?
Yes.
Would it refresh your recollection regarding the exact phone number written on that paper to review that testimony?
Yes.
I'm going to approach with page 250.
Oh, yeah. Where are we looking? You just say it to him.
About the middle of the page there, line 13. Yes, sir. Does that refresh your recollection about the number?
Yes, it does.
Does that appear to be correct?
Yes, it does.
And what is that phone number?
305-712-6570.
All right, so that was your undercover number at the time?
That is correct.
I want to ask you about a couple other phone calls that we hear your voice on. One is, did anyone ever call the undercover number?
They did.
All right, I want to ask you about April 28, 2016, and I'm going to approach with State's Exhibit 134. You had an opportunity to review that exhibit?
Yes.
All right, and is that a fair and accurate call of recording of the call that we're speaking of where somebody called your undercover number and it was recorded?
That
by
is,
law enforcement.
yes.
All right. Judge, this is one of the exhibits we're going to discuss further at a later time.
All right.
All right, and then State's Exhibit 128, did you also make an undercover call to the Adelson Institute?
I did.
All right, and what was the purpose of that phone call?
I was trying to get Mrs. Adelson on the phone and also the purpose to tickle the wire.
All right, and was that done on April 28, 2016?
Yes, it was.
All right, so it's basically an additional bump to generate further conversation on the wire?
Another form, yes.
Okay, and is States 128 a fair and accurate copy of the phone call you made to the Adelson Institute?
Yes.
All right, and Judge, that's another exhibit we'll take up at a later time. No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Yeah. I'm gonna kill myself once we get out. Take that. Good afternoon, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about, for a minute, the operation that day. You guys were down on south of 5th and Miami Beach, right?
I believe so, yes.
There was a whole bunch of agents that were involved.
Yes,
Because you need to have it for security to have other agents around, correct?
correct,
The Miami Beach Police Department, they were also involved.
yes.
So we had dozens of personnel.
There's quite a few.
It's a good amount of taxpayer money of agents and law enforcement that are involved, right?
Yes.
There was also a high altitude plane.
That I don't, I understand that my job in this operation was simply to be the undercover agent. What was in the air or how many law enforcement were around, I can't tell you.
I'm not saying it was your choice to
No,
spend
I'm
the
saying
money.
I don't know if there was or there was not an
All right.
high altitude plane is what I'm saying.
All right. But you'd agree with me that it was a full-on operation, right?
Sure, yes.
Now, with respect to the letter that was given, and understanding that you're not the case agent.
Correct.
It's not you making the decision.
Yes, sir.
This is not the letter that was actually handed to Donna Adelson, is it?
Not the one that's on that.
Nor is it
No.
an exact copy of it.
Well, I remember, to my recollection, I remember a news article, some type of news article, and Mr. Markel's picture on it.
You would agree with me that you don't remember exactly what was written on it.
Now I remember the dollar amount that was written on it, that it was handwritten on it, and the phone number that was written on it. There was a phone number written on it.
But you can't recall exactly how it was written, right?
How it was written? What do you mean by how it was written?
Are you telling this jury that you fully remember what was written on the paperwork that was given to Miss Adelson?
What was handwritten, yes.
Correct.
What was written on it? How it was written, I don't know.
Okay. You would agree with me that for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, it was an oversight not to make a copy of the exact one that was given over.
That is correct.
In the previous bumps that you've done previous bumps, right?
Numerous.
Copies are made of whatever's handed over to the target.
Yes.
Now, the purpose of these bumps, and I think it's obvious, but let's go through it, that you approach a target and you want to see what actions are taken after that bump, right?
Well, like I stated earlier, there's different purposes for a bump, but in this situation, that would be correct. We bump and see what would happen after.
You want to see who's going to contact who.
The purpose of the bump was to activate or tickle the wire,
All right, you want to tickle and see how it grows. Sort of like plant a tree and see how it grows, right?
something like that.
All right, now, you'd agree with me that there's two different ways to do this. You can do it organically, where you just go up and go, we helped you with the situation, we want money, right? Could have done that.
That's pretty much what we did.
But instead, it was not done organically because you said, my brother, right? You said your family, right? You said Katie twice, right?
Correct.
And you said Tuto twice.
That is correct.
And ultimately, there was communication between Charles Adelson and Catherine Magbanwa, and then Catherine Magbanwa and Sigfredo Garcia, who is Tuto.
That I don't, like I said, I don't know what happened
Not the
after
case
that.
agent. You would agree with me, though, that it could have been more effective to just not mention names of people to then see if people are going to communicate instead of giving a roadmap of what you think the communication should be.
I just did as I was instructed.
And that was Agent Patrick Sanford that instructed you?
That is correct.
Your Honor, if I could have one brief moment, I think I'm done. I'm done. All right. Thank you, Agent.
Redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. You did prepare you call it a 302, but it's a report in reference to this matter, correct?
That is correct,
And the
302.
purpose of the 302 or the report is to document the details of what's done so that you don't have to remember the phone number 8 years later, 6 years later, how many ever years it is, right?
That is correct.
Okay, and your report did include the phone number as we just read to the
Objection,
jury?
Your Honor. Improper to read what's in the report.
State your question, please.
The report did contain the undercover phone number that we already read to the jury.